Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. I'm joined today by my good buddy Alex Pandrea.
Yo, yo, yo.
You may know Alex from other YouTube videos as well as, which, you know, comes into play today, his Instagram. Alex is also the founder of the Blue Crown, which has printed countless amounts of playing cards. One of the most important things and one of the most important aspects of selling playing cards and creating them is to be able to market them well and to take pictures of them well, which Alex does really well. Today what we're going to talk about is playing card photography. I get a lot of questions on the grid, I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
By the way, when we say grid, we mean like those little squares on your Instagram. We'll get into that. Yeah, we'll get into that in a second.
So as magicians, we're, I think, a creative bunch. Whether you're a cardist or a flourisher or a card magician, and taking playing card photography, you could really get creative with it. Because there's so many different designs, so many different colors, and you're out in this world, which is so different no matter where you go.
Absolutely.
So it's very, very interesting. So we're going to take you through all the tips, starting with, I guess, equipment.
Yeah, let's start with equipment. Let's talk about equipment first. So first and foremost, a lot of you are probably thinking, well, you guys have DSLR cameras and really expensive cameras. Well, the fact is that, first of all, when I started photography, I started with an iPhone. I think it was an iPhone 5S at the time. But even to this day, still do iPhone photography and still do it well enough to put it on my grid. And the thing is, your cameras have timers. So if you're alone out shooting, you can actually shoot yourself. And I've done this countless amount of times with my DSLR and with my iPhone. You can set it on a timer, set it up somewhere. It does take a little bit more time, but obviously if you put the time in, you're gonna like the results.
What's interesting about taking it with a phone is sometimes I take it with the camera and then I also take a shot with the phone, and the phone shots, depending on the lighting and everything, could be actually better.
And if you want to get creative, you can also take a photo of your phone taking a photo, and that could be your photo.
Yeah, all the time I do it like sort of behind the scenes where the story is me taking the photo and then you have to go to the post to see the photo.
Sure. If you're only rocking a telephone, or if you're only, I said telephone, it's like we're living in the 20s. If you're only rocking a cell phone, not a problem. Grab your phone and let's move on to tip number 2. All right, tip number 2 is theme.
Yes it is, Chris. Yes it is.
When we're talking theme, we're talking about, okay, what are we looking at? Where are we? What do we have on us? What deck are we using? Do we want to bring extra props? And that's something I really want to touch on as well. Playing card picture is better when you incorporate other props. Let's say you're doing a nautical themed deck. Well, maybe the props might be something like
rope, water.
Exactly. Let's say the theme is more of like a classical design. Well, maybe you want to incorporate a cup of whiskey and a cigar into that and get some warm lighting instead of like
leather
cold
surface.
lighting. Yeah.
I always like to do this. Think of the theme, research it, Google it, image search, and now I get inspiration. What type of objects do they use and what colors?
That's a great idea. I've never done that myself, but that's an absolutely great idea to just get some inspiration. Today, obviously, our inspiration is going to be the paradise, which is Bermuda. You've brought with you a bunch of things to match this. I as well have brought this. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this deck. This is the Carpe Noctem deck that I released with Illusionist. There's a lot of cool colors on this. They've got like purple, yellow, and all this. So I'm definitely gonna have a fun time finding some exotic flowers and taking some moody, dark shots with those flowers.
I got t-shirts for change. And I got decks to match. Sunglasses, these are like cheap gold sunglasses.
So they look good on camera.
We can switch it for the cheap orange sunglasses.
There you go.
Tell you the secret for props. Michaels.
Michaels
craft stores.
Yeah.
You get those sort of papers that you can place on that have, there's hundreds of them
they've
at
got
Michaels.
Frames, they've got letters, lights.
Frames, they have all these little antique jewelry kind of things, little anchors, little bottles.
And if you don't have the cash to go to these stores, don't worry about it. Figure out your theme first, and you'll be surprised just by looking around your house what you can find to fit that theme. You'll be very, very surprised. So first things first, grab your equipment. Now it's time to think about a theme. We actually have to go find where our first photo shoot's gonna take place. This looks really dope, by the way. So this has got a really nice depth of field down here. You got a nice little payoff at the end with the palm trees and stuff. So that could be really cool. Let's have a walk down by the pool, see what's up over here. So yeah, not hard to find a theme around here though, by the way. So we're kind of cheating today.
We are definitely working with a nice setting, but you'll see some examples if we don't do this and we turn the camera around. Here we got trees with greens with the branches,
Mm-hmm.
the soil, brown.
Lighting's another thing that we're gonna talk about. You never want something, oh, that's sick, by the way. This has, that's so sick. Lighting's another thing. You don't wanna be backlit. Right now, if I do this, I am backlit, which means that this is all gonna be blown out on camera for the most part. If I'm here, the light is now bouncing off me and I look a lot better on camera. Same goes for when you're taking a picture of a deck of cards. Got the nice infinity pool over here, but my cards will get wet, so. I like this, I like the staircase, I like the angles here. That's a bit dirty though. We can probably Photoshop that stuff out. So I'm not feeling this place 100% for a photo right now, so we're gonna take a walk down by the water here.
And that's also the other thing, you know, take your time with it. You don't have to go with the first. And all the time when I shoot, the first things that I shoot are never the best ones. It's always the third, fourth option for me.
All right, so this is like a cool little path where the ferry goes down, which is pretty sick. So, check this place out. Again, this whole place is just paradise. Look at those white flowers. Ooh, baby.
This color is so nice right here.
That is nice, yeah. Let's do something here.
Yep.
All right, so now we found our theme. We found our location for the theme where we're gonna do a couple photo shoots. Obviously, we're gonna walk around and find some more, but for now, this is the place. Next thing we're gonna talk about is displays.
Are we good?
Okay, okay. When you're talking about displays, one thing you can't do is make up displays that don't actually exist.
Okay.
That's a big no-no. Do not do that. But displays don't stop just with how you hold a deck of cards. Yes, you can fan out, you can make a giant fan, you can lapel spread, you can pressure fan, all these really cool things that you can do. You can do a pass, you know, all these things you can do with a deck of cards, but displays don't stop there. This might be another way of displaying a deck of cards. Boom. Maybe this is how I'm gonna display it. Just like that. The light's hitting it a little bit, looks kind of cool. Maybe that's my shot. The point is, always look for something original, something you can do it differently. Maybe it's the way you hold the box. You know, this is always something everyone does and it's cool, or even just the dealer's grip, you know, holding it down like this. There's an Instagram photo right there. Maybe you want to set it down a certain way, a certain angle. But maybe you actually want to take the cards out and rip a card, rip up the box, just come up with something original. Let's take a quick look at our Instagram photos. And I'll show you a couple examples of different displays that you can do.
Here.
There you go, that's a beautiful little under pressure deck spread. That's really nice. And see, there's another element here. There's also the watch that he's wearing, which really makes that pop. Yep. And that goes into theme, you know, what you're bringing with you.
I think this hand really makes it a nice...
out of focus hand with the rings.
Yeah, because if that wasn't there, then you have a mildly boringer shot.
That's very true. Great point.
Anaconda.
Anaconda.
Everybody's favorite.
Oh, and especially with that deck. But here we go. Look, let's take a look at this shot that you took. You're sitting in the jungle.
Yep.
What looks like. You have the bandana. You've got the cards to match the tones. You've got the sunglasses, the ragged shirt. Everything of this theme is perfect. The display is perfect. The angle is good, which we're going to talk about as well. And the tones are also really sick, which we're going to talk about. All right, let's talk to them now that we have display ideas. So now that you've got some idea of how to display a deck of cards, even if it's lying on a table or the box is open, the cards are spread, maybe the cards are messy, all this stuff. This is completely up to you. This is where you get creative. Now we're gonna talk about angles, because finding a display wasn't hard enough. You're gonna have to know how to shoot that display. And Anaconda is, you know, one of those great things where angles, basically, we're talking about composition. And if I'm, ooh, that's a lizard. Hold on, there's a lizard right here. I'm sorry, I get distracted by reptiles. If he had taken that photo of the anaconda panoramic versus vertical, it wouldn't have looked that good. Let's take another look at Alex's grid and I'll show you some other examples of really good angles. Here, let's look at this one.
So again, over the shoulder, this is all blurry with a fan. I like this one because you have in the background the back palm, which could not have been there. I could have just taken the photo of just the deck, but I added the back palm in
just
there.
Another key extra element. Let's look at something that you've incorporated different props into as well as the angle, as well as everything else. Ooh.
So here's a shot taken with an iPhone.
Get out of here.
This is taken with this exact
no,
phone.
Not. You're a liar. You're an absolute liar. Stop bullshitting my
Definitely
audience,
is.
bro.
100%.
There's no way.
So the portrait mode on the iPhone is very, very good because you can get a nice depth. So this is all taken with the depth effect, the portrait mode. Now, an interesting thing about this photo is that I had a whiskey drink, but the cards were actually red. So if we take a look at the actual original image, this is it right here. Whiskey with a red deck, and I said, you know what? Red deck's not gonna cut it for this. Let me Photoshop it to be brown. And now we have this brown deck with a nice brown sort of filter on it.
And that
creates the theme.
To our next point, my friend. You're always one ahead. You're like way too far ahead of me right now.
So you never know how it's gonna look until you actually try it out. So I stood here and my photographer went all the way around, which is my girlfriend, and she has the patience for me to say,
yeah, like this is a bad angle. This is a great angle.
Yeah,
right
maybe
there.
Maybe
even from behind with the
from
shoulder.
behind.
Let's take a couple pictures right now and give them some examples of angles, displays,
And equipment. Are we on equipment?
and equipment. We're gonna round it all off with tone. Tones is one of the things that this guy is absolutely great at, that I've tried to work myself on. And but first, let's get some really cool pictures and then try to match it with tones.
All right, so now we're gonna take a photo of an orange deck. We got the blue wall.
See, a lot of people will be like, oh, blue wall, blue deck, blue shirt. No.
Yeah, I could change into this, but I think it's a little bit overkill. I already have the orange sunglasses.
Do you know what actually might be cool? If you just held that orange shirt in your hand,
Yeah.
and you displayed the deck in the other hand, just to give it a little bit of a callback on the photo, you know, and that could be out of focus or something.
You know, something like...
Yeah. And this is what behind the scenes looks like. It's not all fancy. Sometimes we gotta lug around stuff. Well, not me, I'm just holding the camera.
This is actually pretty easy. I only got all of this.
Last thing we're gonna talk about is tones. Let's take a look at an example of tones and how you can change those tones during the editing process, not only while you're taking photos, to match your grid. And Alex is gonna give us one example of that right now.
All right, so I kind of like different themes. So let's start about here. I got a lot of blues going on, and I go blend it slowly into kind of a brownish. Then I did here for the Noc Sports, so I did it with a green and very bright colors, going into some oranges, into some greens and blacks. Here's when I went to Brazil. So planned it out. Each individual picture, when you click on it, cannot look like much, but all together it makes a theme.
So what's you told me about an app you use.
Yeah, one app, and there's a few out there, but one of them is called Unum.
Okay, got it.
So what this is it plans your grid out for you. You sign in with your Instagram, which I didn't do just now, but these are the pictures that I will post. So this was, I think, the last one that I posted, so now I have these ones. If I don't like this, I can actually, this might look good, maybe the deck is here, but I don't like if there's two decks like on top of each other, so I kind of like to structure it
and
this
again,
way, that way.
That's not something you can really teach, it's just something you kind of learn and you feel, right?
Yeah, and it's all about just practicing. The more and more you do it, I mean, I did not have any background in photography or videography or any of that stuff, and I learned over the 7+ years of actually shooting playing cards, shooting Magic, doing all of that. So I learned through time, just like everybody can.
Another thing I'm going to say is there's another app you can check out is Visco. You probably already know about it. VSCO, basically. Great app to edit photos, and there's also lens distortions if you want to add little light filters and light leaks, which I'll put some pictures up right now, some light leaks that I've added to photos. You guys can see that. And that's basically it. Those are 5 tips. And if you rewatch this video and you really put into effect everything that we talked about, your Instagram game for playing card photography is going to, the sky's the limit at this point. Go check out his YouTube channel, but most importantly, go check out his grid. I'll leave his Instagram as well below. Subscribe to Alex, follow him, check out his journeys. And Alex actually has a really dope video coming up with me in the next couple days, so stay tuned for that. He's releasing something very exciting that we've teased in this video. Bam. All right, guys, like this video. Subscribe if you're new here. Hit the notification buttons if you are already, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.
Enchanté.